Hello and welcome to a new video. Taking the Honda Trail 125 out for a ride. I am starting in the Fairdale neighborhood in Louisville, Kentucky, and I think this trip will take me into Bullitt County, which is adjacent county to Jefferson County that contains Louisville, Kentucky. Kentucky has, in my opinion, entirely too many counties. And I'll be going up Mitchell Hill Road by the cemetery, and there's a bunch of horses. And a little cowboy bringing up the rear. But, yeah, Fairdale is a neighborhood within Louisville, Kentucky. And I'll go through here, and then it'll go over into Bullitt County. And it's a November day. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's in the 50s. So, it's not quite winter cold, but it's not exactly all that warm either. But this ride will go past the Mitchell Hill Cemetery in an area that gives a pretty nice overlook into the city. And then keep going, it'll go into Bullitt County. So we'll see what all this looks like. I think I've gone on this route a couple of times in the past. I think I maybe recorded it for a video once, but this time I have two cameras. I have the Insta360 Ace Pro, the original Ace Pro 1 that came out back in 2023, so I have that for the front-facing camera, and the back-facing camera is an Insta360 Go 3, which is their kind of small, little portable action-type camera that you can remove the little camera pod and snap it in places that a normal camera wouldn't fit. So it makes it relatively easy to snap on the back of this bike on the cargo area where it's not too big or cumbersome or in the way, and it's able to get a rear-facing view. I think it has some of the cargo bag in the shot, but you know, I didn't want to have to get extension poles to make it sit up higher, because I'm using a magnetic mount thing to sit it on the back. And this also goes by Jefferson Memorial Forest, which is a cool place to go and check out if you're in the region, in the area. And this is an area that I had come through years and years ago when I was in high school. You know, back when you first got a car, you're able to drive. A lot of times as teenagers, you just kind of go and drive around and find stuff. So I remember coming through this area before on rides and have friends with me and stuff. We go right around and just kind of explore. Some of this stuff is a little bit nicer than it used to be. I just mean like the roads are more kept up, stuff's a little bit more developed in areas. And this is where people are turning in the right. That goes into Jefferson Memorial Forest. But I am not going through there today. And pretty windy out, so hopefully none that's really being picked up on the microphone. And this is a road where there are some urban legends, so I've done videos on this before. It's this road, and there's actually another road in Louisville, where both referred to as Hot Rod Haven, and it's supposedly where people would go through and hot rod their cars and race them up and down. Which it may not be as apparent in this video because of the super wide angle view of these cameras, but this is a pretty steep hill here, as evidenced by the fact the bike is struggling to hit very high speeds. Downshift one. But this was a road where people supposedly would go through and race through, and in the 1940s or 50s there was supposed to be a couple on the way to a high school dance that crashed and then died in the crash, and you can see the ghost of the girl walking up and down the road. Now, whether that's ever happened, I would sincerely doubt that, but that is the legend. And there's a lot of areas across the U.S. that have almost that exact verbatim urban legend. And then, this road's been repaved recently, so it's actually in pretty good shape. Because I know I've come through here, when I came through here before, it was pretty rough. If you tried to race down through here before, you would not have a good time. Now it's, at least plausible, because the road has been repaved. And there's a cemetery over to the left. And then, hopefully the rear-facing camera will get this view, but this road does have a nice view looking out into the city across Louisville. A pretty nice view if you had one of these houses to walk out to your front yard and see that. So if you live right out here, you have a nice view looking into the city, and you're pretty close to Jefferson Memorial Forest. So there's some cool stuff if you live out here. Now, some of it may get old once you get used to it, but and the Trail 125 is good for rides like this because most of these roads don't have super high speed limits. The only thing I think you would run into with this that would maybe be annoying is some of these roads are pretty steep, and if the speed limit is 35 miles per hour, but people do 40 to 50, you're not going to be able to do 50 miles per hour up a relatively steep incline on this. So if people are super impatient, that could probably get annoying. But for, this type of leisurely ride, though, this is a great bike for it. And now I'm entering into Bullitt County. What's ironic, and I'm sure it wasn't picked up on the camera, the sign on the other side that says you're entering Jefferson County has been shot multiple times with a gun, so there are bullet holes in the sign. But I didn't notice any bullet holes in the sign for Bullitt County, ironically enough. But so this is where all these trees that line the road are thinned out because it's fall. I'm recording towards the end of November, so you can actually see the sun a lot more than you probably would in the summer or the spring once things have grown up. A fellow cyclist going through here. Their bike is much faster than mine, however. And two, something I'm using on this trip, I have a Ruroc Atlas 4.0 helmet, and I have their Shockwave audio system where it has the built-in microphone and speakers that go inside the helmet that connect to your phone via Bluetooth. So I have that connected. So before I left, I punched into GPS to get out here and to avoid highways. So that was what I used to navigate out here, because I didn't 100% remember all of the roads to take to get here the fastest, or in the fastest way possible. So that is useful, because I looked into getting little GPS displays that would go somewhere on the handlebars or the mirror, but it seemed like those would be more distracting because you have to take your eyes off the road and look down to see what it says. I thought ultimately that would be more distracting than the setup I have, where I just have the speakers inside the helmet that tell you what the directions are. And it's worked out pretty well. So if I'm recording, while I'm recording this, if I start talking and then just abruptly stop, it might because I'm listening to see what the directions are. there is a car behind me. Like most of these roads, I'm pretty sure the speed limits are like 35. Just the problem is, when you have some of these kind of like narrow, winding roads, people who live in the area are used to taking them very fast, you know, double the speed limit or more, or close to it, and get very frustrated when somebody comes through not doing that. Now, this car behind me is fine, but I've encountered before on kind of these roads like this, getting past. And with this Trail 125, so today it's very windy, and I've been going into the wind. So far today, the top speed I've hit's around 50-51. But when the wind is at your back, then I've, you know, hit 57. And these are neighborhoods where there's been probably a decent amount of development in the past 20 years. Or new houses have sprung up, or stuff's been built or renovated. Because like I said, Mitchell Hill Road, the road that I went up that went by the cemetery, that had been repaved. Because it was in pretty rough shape the last time I went through it. Like a ton of potholes. Not very fun to ride on. So, pretty big improvement. And then there's another road, so the nickname for that road is Hot Rod Haven. There's another road in Louisville, St. Anthony Church Road, that also has the nickname of Hot Rod Haven. And it's similarly kind of a winding, I said that weird, kind of a winding, narrow road that goes through a hilly area that overlooks the city. It's just over kind of in the Dixie Highway area instead of more of the Fairdale area where this is. And I think that the people share the exact same urban legend about it too, about the ghost girl and the couple and stuff. So, because growing up, that's what I thought Hot Rod Haven was that other road, St. Anthony Church Road. And then I come to find out when I was reading about urban legends, it's actually a different road. But they're very similar, and they're about 10 to 15 minutes from each other, so pretty close, you know, pretty similar. And I'm sure people raced down both of them. And especially back, you know, in the 70s and the 60s and stuff like that, if you raced down when tires were a lot worse than they are now, it was probably a bit more treacherous. Now I'm going to turn on to State Highway 1417. And there's all of the hills through here. And these different houses that are kind of at the foot of the hill. And it's a fun ride. Because with this Trail 125, you don't want to take it on the highway. You know, legally you probably shouldn't. And then just good sense would say you shouldn't either. You do have to take the longer way to get places if you're going to areas that are further out, and it depends on the part of the country you live in, because there's times I've needed to go somewhere out in Bullitt County. I've never taken this really out there, but if I needed to, it'd have to be this long roundabout way because you can't take the expressway. And this bike has 875 miles, so it's been broken in and had the first service done. That was a couple hundred miles ago. It is interesting. I don't know if it is picked up on camera as easily, but there have been, I've seen a number of different areas where people have fires going outside, fire pits or what have you, or, you know, fire pit, a burn pit, whatever. So I can smell, as I'm going through here, burning wood. And over on the right, there's some livestock, it looks like. That is in frame. So I thought about using the 360 camera when I go for rides like this. Well, there's a burn pit over on the left. Maybe it'll get picked up on the back camera. I thought about taking the 360 camera, but then, you know, that one's going to be more in the way, because I'll probably need to put it on a selfie stick and then attach it to the magnetic thing, and that would be a way to get 360 footage where I could have the camera point in any direction that I want. Because for the e-bikes and the scooters and stuff, I have a helmet where there's a mount on top of the helmet where I can put the 360 camera there. Well, I don't want to wear that helmet when I'm riding the actual motorcycle, and I don't want to put a mount on the top of this one. And I also feel like when you're going faster, you know, like 50, 55 into the wind, having a 360 camera on top of your helmet in the middle is going to add a lot of wind resistance, which probably wouldn't be super fun. So I haven't really used the 360 camera with this one too often. I think I've done some night rides where I took the 360 camera, but I was just going around lower speed roads locally where I could still wear the same helmet I use on the e-bikes. But this longer ride through, you know, major roads, to get here, I want to wear the normal road helmet that, you know, has all the appropriate approvals and certifications and is a lot more protective than the e-bike helmet. And then too, there are urban legends around this area. This place I'm about to come upon pretty soon. So it is referred to, I guess the more correct term would be Munchkinville, is what I've seen people calling it lately. And it's where there's this collection of houses that are all kind of small. And they're actually just part of a campground for this church. But the houses are all pretty small. They look like they're maybe for kids or something. Like the one over here to the right. So there's all these, they're up here on the left. So there's these rumors that it was where they would have, you know, smaller people living in these. But in reality, everything that I had found, it was, you know, it was really just, they had bought smaller houses that were, you know, whatever the most affordable houses were when they have people visiting. And hopefully that isn't picking up all the GPS sounds. I'll have to turn that off here in a second. But, yeah, but there's all these, like, smaller houses and trailers, and I'm sure, a lot of these are probably like prefab houses or something. So we'll go through here and see where this ends, and I'll wrap up. But yeah, the Trail 125, the one thing that, you know, this or any kind of dual sport bike that can go off-road at all, it is going to be one of those things where you're highly tempted to go through different locations that look fun. Out here, however, this is all mostly going to be private property, and do that at your own risk, because people can be protective of their property. And if you don't know where things go out, then, you know, that wouldn't be good either. There's all these areas that just look like they'd be really fun to go through. And it's tempting, but, you know, gotta show good judgment. But if you lived out somewhere like this Trail 125 would be really fun, especially if you own property that you can go and do whatever you want to with. So it is interesting, because I'm not sure how much of this is being picked up on camera, but this is like a view that overlooks out into the city, because this is elevated at the top of a hill. So a pretty cool view. And this is one of those things I'm not going to go very fast, because these are not very wide roads, and somebody could be going through on a very large pickup truck or vehicle. and I'd rather not get ran off the road. Because over to the right, there's a lot of open area you can see. Again, I'm not sure how much of this is being picked up on the camera. And this is such a wide-angle lens that it's, you know, distorts things to some extent. So some stuff that's relatively close looks pretty far away, unless you go and crop in a bunch and zoom in. But then the quality goes to crap if you do that, so... Man, this road goes back here further than I remembered, because I had not come through back all the way here in a very long time, since I was like in high school. But yeah, like there's all the rumors about that being something around little people, and that's, you know, just hearsay, urban legends. The people that run the church have said there's only ever been one person, you know, not of, you know, average height that lived there, or else is, you know, would not have been identified as a little person. And I'm assuming that legend just came from the houses being small and somebody running with it. At some point I'll have to turn around. I have no clue how far back this is going. But yeah, I mean, so it's just small houses that are part of kind of like their campsite when they have people from out of town stay at the church. I believe the pastor, whoever, had just said that, you know, they were just buying whatever the most affordable options were. And if they happen to be small, you know, that's why. And I'm sure you can find people that have elaborate, intricate stories about something specific happening there that they swear up and down they remember. But who knows? Yeah, I'm just continuing to go back further and deeper into the woods here. So yes, that was taking the Honda Trail 125. I started out in the Fairdale neighborhood in Louisville, Kentucky, and crossed over into Bullitt County, and have been riding around back through here. But yeah, that'll wrap it up till next time.